This is the Homer Hour, broadcasting live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Alongside ESPN's John Anderson, here's Emmy Award winner Homer.
The best 60 minutes of your day, the John Anderson Homer Hour. Every time John Anderson comes on, the professor at the University of Missouri, still doing stuff for ESPN. I don't know where we have to go. That's probably my first question. So that we can find out whenever John Anderson appears on ESPN or any event, we want to know about it. Good afternoon, John. And where can we find out? Is there a website or somewhere which will give us an update on any appearance that you're making?
No, just figure if they're running, if somebody's running in a circle around the world,
I cannot
ESPN
hear John. Hold on.
If
Pebble,
somebody
are we okay, or is there some problem?
Uh-oh.
The John Anderson Homer Hour will not be as successful if I can't hear John Anderson.
Yep.
Maybe I could just do a John Anderson.
I am here and it's on. Hello.
Imitation.
I see Homer
Maybe
now.
I'll answer it like
hello,
John
hello.
Anderson might. I can see him, but I still can't hear him.
I see him.
If you
hello.
He's got a hat on. I can't see the hat, but
try this. Hello.
There's some question as to whether or not John Anderson's mic is on.
My mic is
that
on.
Is some sort of punishment to me. Pebble,
my mic is on.
What do we need to do here? I am at the bog where we had the Delzer Golf Tournament on, they tell me, the 30th anniversary of the opening of the bog. The golf course, the Arnold Palmer Golf Course, of which Terry Wakefield built, and I was here. I don't know if it was, I think the opening would have been when they played, because Arnold Palmer was upset with my nickname. He was curious about it. I said I gave myself a nickname, and Arnold Palmer looked at me and said, "You can't do that. You can't give yourself a nickname." I said, all right, I don't know. I'm not going to argue with Arnold Palmer, but in radio, people gave nicknames all the time. Fat Man, Wolfman Jack. The person who taught me was Captain Whammo. And I'm trying. There were a number of other people.
Here I am again.
Los Angeles.
Hello. Here I am.
I think we're going to have to take a break because I still cannot hear.
Here I am.
Pebble, do you want to talk to me? Are we on the air, off the air?
I'm here.
So I can hear you. I mean, I can look at John Anderson. He looks good. He's got a little more gray hair than I thought, but I can't. I
hear Homer.
I just want to make it clear. I'm jealous of gray hair or any hair because I don't have any. So it's not like I'm making fun of it. Yeah, there's people.
I'm trying.
And then they charge us the same amount at a barber. My barber, Tommy, goes, it's because you have to pay more because it's harder for me to find your hair. Like, they just must have a barber manual where you come up with something like that. All right, we'll figure out how to hear John Anderson next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Southbound 43, still going to be kind of a hefty ride coming in from Good Hope Road all the way down past Silver Spring, back on the brakes from Capitol, all the way down through the Marquette to the KK River. Part of the problem is a broken down vehicle blocking the right lane as you're making your way into the Marquette, so heads up with that. Well, it's actually the two center lanes.
You can hear me all right?
Be careful with that. Northbound, we're seeing delays all the way up from the Marquette up to about Locust. We'll make that Locust. Westbound 94, a little heavy from 25th Street all the way to Hawley Road, and then from 92nd Street into Waukesha County. Eastbound, we do still have delays from Highway 16 all the way to Barker Road. Had an earlier issue around Calhoun. That's been cleared out of the way. Traffic is brought to you by James Imaging Systems, your local document imaging partner. Dedicated to helping businesses do business better. Visit jamesimaging.com. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, warm and humid, a low of 72. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, very humid. Afternoon scattered thunderstorms, some may be severe, a high of 86. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
With Wilde and Tausch, you won't miss a play.
The reality is they were going to be paying him and probably not getting the best of him.
Presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
This strikes me as a team that is putting its money where its mouth is when it comes to, we want Giannis to believe that we are busting our tails to be a contender and make him want to stay here. This makes me think John Horst is a pretty smart guy.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on 94.5 ESPN, ESPN Milwaukee's YouTube channel, and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
The Big Slide, barns and barns of animals, and all that food on a stick. State Fair is one of the biggest events of the summer, and we'd like to send you there. Compliments of Discount Liquor. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor. Purchase any one case 30-pack cans of Miller High Life or any one 12-pack Leinenkugel craft beer and receive one free State Fair ticket, all while supplies last. But don't delay. Tickets go quickly. And I know you don't want to miss the bacon-wrapped bacon. Visit us today at 51st in Oklahoma and Milwaukee and on Barstow and Main in downtown Waukesha. Discount Liquor, voted best liquor store in Milwaukee again. See us this week for your free Wisconsin State Fair ticket.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
And visit us online at discountliquorinc.com.
Hey, Jen Latta here, and as a client of the We Sell Group, I can tell you firsthand, Rob and Nick make the home buying and selling process easier. Right now, school's out, and that means it's the perfect time to list your home. The market is challenging and inventory is tight, but you don't have to face it alone. Rob and Nick are pros. They take the stress off your plate so you can focus on your family, your summer, and just breathe. Contact Rob and Nick to see what your home might be worth in this market. Connect today at wesell.kw.com. That's wesell.kw.com.
It's always a beautiful experience coming out to the ballpark. Many fans prep in the parking lot amongst our legendary tailgaters. When you're ready for new windows and doors, prep for those at the Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. See, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from different Pella lines side by side. And if you order by July 31st, get 0% interest for up to 5 years on Blue Mountain Road or visit PellaWI.com today.
They say print is dead. They also said the sound barrier couldn't be broken, and man would never walk on the moon. They've said a lot of things, and they were wrong. We say print is alive. We should know, because print is what we do. Through 3 generations of blood, sweat, and ink, we continue to grow and evolve by consistently exceeding expectations. So print is dead, right? Wrong. When print is done right, it's unstoppable. Delza, commercial print done right.
This is the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The John Anderson Homer Hour. I'm at the Bog. We had our Delzer ESPN Open on the 30th anniversary of the opening of the Bog. I was here then, I think. I know I was. Because I was here to watch Arnold Palmer. And I know John Anderson has Arnold Palmer stories. Got to. Joining us now is the professor at the University of Missouri, the John Anderson. 7 at 2.5. That's what he high jumped. I've not gotten on. Maybe I should have asked. How old were you when you did your career high of 7.2.5? 19,
I was 20 years old. 40 years ago. It's been that's why we can let it go. It's been
40 years ago. Wow, I should have got Dwight Stones on. Come on. You know him.
And he can talk about the time. I always say he's been super nice to me in that he was the guy I wanted to be when I was a kid, which is remarkable to grow up and now work with him professionally. But he could, like the last record, I set my school record, which might have been the Brown County and the city record for a time. Right? So that's it. Like I have the county record. Like White Stones could go, oh, let me tell you about the time I jumped higher than anybody in human history. Like the greatest in the world. And oh, by the way, I did it in 7 different times. So he
but
could
here's
do that.
what
so I
you
never
understand.
I don't want to get in that fight with him.
All right. I don't want to interrupt. People say I interrupt too much. But the thing that's great about you is that you're close enough to understand. No, I mean, it wasn't like you did a half inch less, but
right.
I mean, it's 7'2.5". You kind of get it, right? I mean, what he did is just not human,
correct,
according to you, but still, you know, I mean.
So that's why I can tell you, yes, that's why I also feel like it's that far away. Because I know that's a long, you know, like the guy who shoots 73 and is a handicapper that's, a one handicapper, and you go, that guy can really play. He knows how far he is from the tour, which is like 8 more shots, right? So like, even the scratch golfer's got to get 8 shots better if he wants to go play in the British Open this week. So, yeah, I'm close, and I've seen it, and I know what really good looks like, and I was good, but I was not that. So, and it was 40
And
years
I can
ago.
continue to talk about this, even though people I know want to talk about something else. So, what makes the difference? He can get his body up higher. What particular skills turn a very good high jumper into a elite, one of the greatest of all time?
Oh, geez. In this case, because it's not always the case, but Dwight is a very tall guy, so that helps, right? Height's a great advantage.
Whatever you say.
You're not Stephen Holm, he and Franklin Jacobs, who are very short guys.
Johnny Mathis.
Yeah, leaping ability. It's funny. It is not just straight vertical jump. If that was the case, Michael Jordan or some of these other guys would be great high jumpers.
What would the world record be if they were still straddling it, if that's the proper phrase for it?
I think they were pretty close to topping out. I think the advances that were made, the advances that have been made technologically have all been things that help somebody that jumps in the Fosbury flop style than the old straddle, Western roll, or any of those things. I think what was Valerie Bermel, the last guy who set the world record in with a straddle. I think when he jumped 228. Dwight was the first guy to jump 230.
Please don't do that to us. Come on. I don't want
honestly,
John Anderson to be 7'2.5" metric guy.
I don't know the conversions that well.
Yeah, you
but
do.
No, I think they were fairly close. I think they were very close to where they would be.
All right, let's get to the more important stuff. The Packers, the Brewers, but wherever you want to start. I mean, I think what everybody needs to know is that the Brewers have a better chance to win the World Series this year than at any time I can remember if Woody and Miz continue to pitch at an elite level. That gives them 3 elite pitchers, and you can beat anybody with 3 elite pitchers. Even the Dodgers and the Brewers cannot ever put together a daily lineup as good as the Dodgers. It's not possible. They can get better. But I will defer to you if you want to join that club or how you want to present the Brewers this year.
So I would agree with you to have 3 frontline starters because I think for the most part you can manage your way around the schedule of the postseason with 3 guys. It helps maybe to have a 4th guy, but, kind of the old bullpen starter. But I think, to have 3 frontline guys puts you in that spot. The difference is with that lineup, they don't have a lot of margin for error. Those guys have to be good every single time. They can't have an off.
Because they're going to win 2-1. They're going to win 3-2.
Yeah. So
they do run well. They have some benefits.
They're top 10. They're a top 10 team running. They're a top 10 team pitching. They're a top 10 team fielding. They're a top 10 team.
They score more runs than you would expect from a lineup that they have.
Yeah, and that's what scares me. And I said this a little last week. That in those short series, right, you can shut a guy down for a couple, 3 days. And it's tough because it's the old Joe Morgan talking about Moneyball, right? All those things are cumulative over 162 games, so that can look different than it can in a 5-game series or even a longer series of 7. But if you have the frontline guys, you always have a chance. The bullpen does really nice work, and you're going to have to you're going to white knuckle everything because it's going to be 2-1 and 3-2. But they have, I don't know if it's their best chance. I think offensively it would be nice if they can come up with something at the deadline. They can find somebody. They put one big bat in there, and I think then they become really scary. I don't buy, as I was asked by your fellow bog mates earlier today before you jumped on, I don't think because they've won 56 games and have one of the most wins ever for the All-Star break, that makes them the best team we've ever had in Milwaukee, But it's a testament to how they pitch and that Pat Murphy again, because I don't know if you remember, Homer, I was on this radio program after they got hammered 3 games by the Yankees, and you were ready to ship them all out. You were done.
I don't think so, but I'll defer
done.
to what you're saying.
and so we did try to caution that perhaps we should get, maybe even 10 or 12 games into the season before we rid ourselves of the group. But
yes,
I did say
I didn't think they would win the division. I didn't think that they would make the playoffs. And yes, they have done significantly better than that. But I don't. That's changed only because of one player.
Miz?
Yeah.
Well, come on, they were on their way before he showed up.
Yes, to some degree. And then Woody coming back.
I mean, they
didn't have
90.
Woody. I didn't know Woody when Woody was going to come back. So if there was no Miz and no Woody, I'd say the same thing now. They're fiddling and diddling. Maybe they'll sneak into the playoffs. They can't compete with the top teams.
Well, maybe I guess we could do that on the high end, yeah. But those guys combined, that's 7 starts. So you still had 90, 80, 89 other games, and they've done pretty well in all of those.
They're not that good.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think they could have made a run. I still think they're in a really tough spot to try to make a run deep into October, which I think actually now, right, doesn't the World Series go 7 games in November? But those 2 guys, yeah, they make a difference in terms of, are they a true contender going the rest of the way? Or do you look at where they are going into the break and you go, okay, they're comfortably into the wild card? Yeah, I think they now comfortably are a wild card team where without those 2 guys, they're scratching to try and stay into that race. But after the New York thing where they got literally carpet bombed, right? You were just like, they were done. This is a team that finally all the good fortune, all the good work they had done all the past 5 or 6 years where they'd made the playoff all but one of those. I thought you were kind of resigned that maybe this was a team that was going to regress and have to figure out a way to redo things. As it turns out, their Yelich and Churio, even though they bat 260, do just enough. They manage to get guys home when they have to. Murphy he pushes the right buttons. Who was the guy they had the other night? He throws him. He's usually a second baseman. He throws him in at third base for one game. He was batting one.
He's a very good manager. There's no. You have to check.
Anthony Stiegler. He puts in Stiegler out of nowhere, and the guy gets a 2-run single, and everybody's life is different because he finds the right guy on the right day.
80% of the people don't know who he is. And this is the other thing. What irritates me is when the proper stories aren't mentioned. The most amazing story on the Brewers this year, more amazing than Miz, is the guy they got from the White Sox, Andrew Vaughn. Do people know Robin Yount was the 3rd overall pick in the baseball draft, 1973? Paul Molitor. Want to guess what pick he was in 77? Go ahead, John Anderson.
I don't know, but he was a first-round guy, right?
Number 3.
Yeah.
Andrew Vaughn. They just picked him up for the White Sox. They traded a pitcher that was mad that he lost his spot, and Miz was taking his place, which means he has no concept of reality. I'm playing on Stanford's tennis team, and John McEnroe shows up, and I say I'm going to transfer because I can't believe you're playing him ahead of me. Get the hell out of here. Anyway, and who do they get? Andrew Vaughn. 2019. John Anderson, do you know his pick selection in the first round? Let me give you a tip. Robin Yount was number 3. Paul Molitor was number 3. Now I'm asking you about Andrew Vaughn. What pick was he? Let me also tell you, at Cal Berkeley, he was a more successful athlete than Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers did a nice job as quarterback. He was no Andrew Young, the college baseball player of the year nationally. Andrew Vaughn, given up by the White Sox after this is like his 3rd or 4th year. That's it. The 3rd overall pick in the draft. Well, everybody should know that. This is insane. What?
Yeah, but I don't know that he's going to continue to hit 430.
Of course he's probably not going to.
He'll hang in there. Which one is he? Is he going to be closer to the guy that was 429 with us in 5 games, or the guy who in 200 at bats was hitting 200?
No,
barely.
He was hitting like a pitcher. You could have subbed a pitcher, but so what? He'd had 2 years that were decent with the White Sox, the 3rd overall pick, and you trade him for a pitcher? You give up on him that soon? There's something going on here that John Anderson needs to figure out. I'm not saying that means he's not going to be good. I'm saying this is 10 times crazier than Miz. The 3rd overall pick in the baseball draft just a few years ago, they get for some upset pitcher. And now, through a short period of time, he's playing and hitting like he was the 3rd overall pick.
So I would caution the same through 5 games as I did for the Brewers at the top with the Yankees at 5 games.
I agree.
Guy does,
But that doesn't change who he is. The first thing everybody should know.
I don't know that's the first thing, but this is why I always argue that, because we've become the seam heads, right? These stat guys, and I like to use some of this and know what it is. I always think that no matter what stat you come up with, how you want to jiggle the numbers, whatever analytics are put on it, I think you'll find that the best players, the really great players, are always the best players, right? Go make up whatever stat you want in any combination, and Robin Yount will be the best Brewer that's ever done it. And Ryan Braun will be close, right? At some point, no matter how you do it, the guys that are great will be great by any metric. But this guy comes along, and you wonder, does he regress to whatever that mean is that he's saying? But this is why I argue against the war and wins against replacement players. Because what if the replacement guy comes in and he replaces Wally Pipp? Or I was in college when I believe it was Jack Clark went down. And they brought in Cesar Cedeno, who had been waived by the Astros and was 38 and had nothing left. And for 40 games, he hit like Mickey Mantle. And literally in 40 games, he hit 18 bombs and drove in. Like, it was the most remarkable. Will Clark did that. Remember, he left the Giants or wherever he was.
Yes.
And he showed up in St. Louis at first base for about 80 games, to the point they're like, dude, you need to stay another year. And he's like, no, I'm getting out. So every once in a while, the replacement player comes in, and he's way better than the wins against over replacement player kind of guy.
Well, there's no way
right
to
now
think
that's where
Vaughn,
he is. Let's hope he's that way 25, 30, and 40 games in. Because I don't always know that that's the most reliable stat.
Well, no, I don't. I mean, I don't think the White Sox as bad as they are. It's so stupid. I assume there's no way he's as good as he's been. But it's still an incredible story when a player is that high and the hits that he's had, given how bad he was for the White Sox. And I don't know that anybody has addressed it with him. I haven't heard a single interview. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about it. Like, dude, you were the 3rd player taken in the draft. What the hell happened to you this year? And again, I mean, that's being nice. And you give the credit to the Brewers. Clearly they thought it was worth the risk. And even if he does nothing, he still did 5 games. And I don't know the dynamics of it, but it's off the charts.
But you can find, the world's littered with 3rd-round picks also that did jack.
Correct.
Especially in baseball.
3rd overall pick. We can go check.
I bet you'd find this. Go look at who the number 1 picks were, since they go to
there have been some bad. Yes, there have been some bad ones. Yes.
But that's not to say that, listen, you're that guy and you're on a team that stinks. And they were historically bad last year, and they weren't. If it wasn't for the Rockies, we'd be talking about how unbelievably they continue to stink with Reinsdorf. And so I do think that I think you could take any one of those guys right now and put them on any other team. And I think the change of scenery and a few wins would make them all, 30% better players. I do think that. I think that environment has gotten so – because that one doesn't look like there's hope. Like at least when the Astros were putting together, 3 straight 100-loss seasons, they kept stockpiling talent. You saw it coming. Like I don't know that even the the White Sox minor league system, the White Sox young guys are there to even develop, right? I don't think there's a Carlos Correa in there. There's not an Altuve. There's not a Springer, any of these guys that went through some of these 100-loss seasons, but they compiled talent. You knew their time was coming. And so I think any of those guys, man, the fresh start thing they really freshen up.
Yeah, and I don't know the dynamics, but it would be very easy for me to say that given the finances of baseball, the White Sox are making money and they don't care that they're horrible. But I can't say that I actually know that because just judging by your knowledge of baseball and mine over the years, it's really hard to be this bad. Like the Mets were that bad in '61 because they were an expansion team, but the Colorado Rockies, I believe that you could take over as the GM of the Rockies and they would be 10 games better by the end of the season because you would be smart enough to hire people and it's almost like watching high school baseball or American Legion baseball. The first tournament game I ever did was New Richmond. They made the sectionals, and they played Stevens Point, and they lost 17-0, and Stevens Point scored 10 runs in an inning, and it was the worst sports event I've ever been in my life. I wanted to leave. And Stevens Point just got another base hit. That's 8 runs in the inning. I wanted to drop my headset and say, what if I just leave? Everybody knows it's over, but I can't. I'll get fired. But I can't do this. I don't know what to say. And that's how bad some of these teams, the Rockies and some of these games are. But anyway, Jason Wilde and John Anderson. Oh, baby, that segment's good. It's next.
The Homer Hour is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Southbound 43 of the 2 center lanes blocked with a broken down vehicle as you're making your way into the Marquette. So watch out for big delays all the way from Capitol Drive on down, even through the Marquette. Stays heavy all the way down to Oklahoma Avenue. The westbound side of 94 backing up from 25th Street to Hawley Road, back on the brakes through the zoo all the way into Waukesha County. And you got patches of heavy traffic that'll take you all the way to Highway 164. Eastbound slowing from Highway 16 to about Barker Road, and then you're back on the brakes from just west of Highway 100 through the zoo interchange to 35th. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, warm and humid, a low of 72. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, very humid, afternoon scattered thunderstorms. Some of them may be severe, a high of 86. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Modernizing business technology is critical for a positive impact on efficiency and reducing operating costs. That's exactly what Tri-City National Bank found out when they called on James Imaging Systems. Listen to Bank CIO Robert Prang.
We also went through a large retooling of our print environment, changing from where we had almost 200 printers.
All the way down to just 97 printers. That's managed print services from James Imaging Systems, a 100% locally owned and managed Wisconsin business technology company.
So being able to work with a local company like James that has that flexibility with their staff and being able to deliver for us has given us the ability to make the right decisions for our organization.
Robert, would you recommend managed print services from James Imaging Systems?
Yes, in a heartbeat. I would recommend James.
Learn more at jamesimaging.com. James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner.
The NFC North Green Bay Packers are returning to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and you're invited.
At defensive end number 90, Lucas Hercules Van Ness.
Lucas Van Ness with the sack.
And say hello to your brand new rookie edge rusher.
The Green Bay Packers select
from Texas,
Barron Sorrell.
Coming to the all-new Cunis Hope Chevrolet of Milwaukee. Sunday, July 20th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Meet two of the Green Bay Packer defensive ends, Lucas Van Ness.
Lucas Van Ness bringing the pressure.
And Barron Sorrell.
Barron Sorrell might have just become a Packers favorite.
During this exclusive 2-hour meet and greet, color action photos of both Van Ness and Sorrell will be provided. Or bring your own item for them to sign free of charge.
Pressure, and he's blasted. Ball is out. Still loose on the turf. Packers have it.
Meet Lucas Van Ness and Barron Sorrell live at Cunis Hope Chevrolet in Milwaukee, 11100 West Metro Auto Mall Drive, just off I-41. Sunday, July 20th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Drive a clean car every day. Tsunami Express Car Wash makes driving in style simple with unlimited washes for less than $1 a day. Become a member and enjoy premium fast lane access, free vacuums, and powerful tire air, all included in your membership. With locations in Midtown Milwaukee, Waukesha, Greenfield, Oak Creek, New Berlin, and Mount Pleasant, it's easier than ever to get a winning wash with Milwaukee's favorite car wash team. Sign up and score big at TsunamiExpress.com. Tsunami Express Car Wash. Wash, chill, repeat.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
You're listening to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. It's time for Jason Wilde on the Homer Hour on 94.5 ESPN.
Then again, I'm at the Bog. We had the Delzer ESPN Open 30th anniversary of the opening of the Bog, Arnold Palmer's course. That's special, but this is even better. The segment, John Anderson, 7-2.5 with Jason Wilde. Take it away, Professor.
Will, did you drink an Arnold Palmer? Are you a lemonade and iced tea guy? I am not.
I'll drink an iced tea. I'll drink a lemonade. If I have to choose, I'll choose lemonade. But I'm definitely not combining things. I'm the same guy who wants the little dividers from kiddie plates to still be what I use for my plates. I don't want my food touching. I also don't want my beverages mixing.
Oh, Lord. They have medicine for those kind of things if it gets too bad, just so you know. Hey, so we're a week out. What are the most pressing things on the Packers' agenda in the next week? Because it feels like I'd like to get the Jenkins thing straightened out, and I think the whole NFL would like to get the whole second-round draft pick thing sorted out.
Yeah, those are two big ones. And I would also add, and he said he wasn't going to do this when we talked to him at the minicamp, but I would add Zach Tom and whether or not he's going to actually set foot on the field. We're seeing Terry McLaurin in Washington saying, I don't see myself practicing until this is resolved. You saw the Chiefs get a deal done with their guard before the franchise tag had to stay in place. You see I'm not sure either one of these guys are going to hold out necessarily, but you see the Jets get deals done with two of their biggest players, and maybe that happens in the next, week or so before the Packers start camp a week from tomorrow, and the veterans report a week from today. But I don't know. I haven't gotten any vibe, and I haven't bothered Elton. I obviously had checked in on things during the off season earlier, and I think there were some people that thought I was making it up that he was unhappy with his existing contract and he wanted some guaranteed money from the money that's already owed to him, which we know in the NFL you don't necessarily get. So that's what he was looking for. It hasn't happened yet. Doesn't mean it won't. But I think Elton Jenkins, Zach Tom, and Anthony Belton / every second-round pick except the first two who have their guaranteed money. I think all three of those things are on the to-do list, and they didn't get the Jordan Love contract done until there were a couple of practices in last year. That could happen again here too, but I am very curious to see. The first thing I will be looking at when I am out at practice a week from tomorrow is 74 out here and it's 50 out here. or are they on a stationary bike drinking a Arnold Palmer and watching practice instead?
Which of those is the most pressing?
I mean, look, I think they're both pressing, right? Like, in Jenkins' case, he's switching positions. So I don't care that he played against Detroit there last year and he has X number of snaps in his career. You know, you've also brought in a left guard to play in his old spot that he's going to be playing next to. I would think you'd want to get those guys the maximum amount of work together, and they got 0 snaps together during the offseason program. You know, Zach Tom, you know, that becomes an issue for a couple of reasons. One is obviously he's a really good offensive lineman. Second of all, you know, he did not have an offseason program last year when he tore his pec. He didn't get started right away in training camp. But more importantly, here's a guy who probably doesn't want to risk going out there having gone through the pec injury last year. So I would guess, and again, I don't know this. I have not talked to Zach since we talked to him at minicamp. But I would guess that he wants to go out there and practice, and his agents are like, the hell you are. We're not taking this chance. Did you forget what happened last year? So I think both of them are pressing. You know, Anthony Belton, the second-round pick, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I viewed him as, I don't think they plan on him starting right away anyway. So I don't think that one's as pressing. I think the other two take far more precedence.
You've seen enough, been around enough. Neither of those things, the Tom or those don't seem like huge fixes. Those don't seem like giant cavernous problems compared to some of the other ones we see. How do you look at them?
I look at it the same way. And, you know, one of my greatest accomplishments in 2025 is that I got Homer to agree with me on something when he started a segment completely philosophically opposed to it. And that is, you don't have to win every negotiation, right? You don't have to be able to say, well, we, you know, as the organization, we got what we wanted. Sometimes the best thing to do is take care of your guys. And the Elton Jenkins part is the one, like, the reason why I can see why the Zach Tom thing might take a little while longer, even though he was, you know, look, Pro Football Focus had his best grades of his career despite the pec. He finished third in the AP All-Pro voting behind Penei Sewell and Lane Johnson. So theoretically, if they had a third team All-Pro, he'd be the right tackle. So, but I can see why his would take a little bit of time if you're not sure where does he fall in terms of what's he worth, right? I get that part of it. The Elton Jenkins thing, your general manager's on the record saying that you believe he can be an all-pro center. If you believe that, and he's not asking for new money, he's simply asking for some of the money that's existing in his contract to be guaranteed, so he's not being left out to dry for 2026. I don't think that's a hard fix at all. And doing right by a player who has done everything you've asked him, including moving to center, right? I mean, theoretically, he could have said, no, centers make less money. Forget you. I'm staying at left guard. And if you don't want to play me at left guard, I want to be traded. But he didn't do that. So why not just take care of the guy with money that you probably should pay him anyway?
So if I'm looking as to why this is taking so long, or why this has become what appears to be something that didn't have to be a thing has become a thing, to use really technical terms.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think the breakdown is here? Who's not making, you know, like where's, like who's stalling or what good is coming out of this holding, you know, the weight?
Yeah, it's Goody and Russ Ball who don't want to guarantee money they don't have to guarantee, which they don't. Like Homer's point when we had this debate a couple of weeks ago was his contract is his contract. We all know that NFL contracts are one-way deals. Nobody, you know, all kinds of players throughout history have not gotten the last 2 years of their deals, right? I mean, that's not uncommon. So they can play hardball if they want to and say, no, you know, you're under contract. Hey, it is what it is. You know, you're going to get your $11 million base salary this year guaranteed after you go for the first week. But to me, that's where the importance is get these guys working together and take care of your guy. But the holdup, I would think, John, is that Elton Jenkins is going to turn 30 years old on December 26th. And if they don't have to guarantee 2026 money, they don't want to. Even though they got all kinds of cap space to do it, even though they can put void years on and spread the charge out for 2020. The dude wants to know that he's going to be here this year and next year. And then if you're done with him and he's a free agent, fine. But I don't think it's an unreasonable position, especially given what he's done for this team and what the general manager said about him when he announced that he was moving to center.
Mm-hmm. In your years covering the Packers, where give me some examples of the times that the worst times where they just burned money with a wrong contract or a signing or a bonus or you came to lift weights and we gave you $8,000 if where have they had some great burnt money?
Well, the two that come to mind for me immediately. The first one is at the same time, Vonnie Holliday, who went on to play 15 years in the NFL, who was their first-round pick in 1998. And, as Ron Wolf will tell you, he should have taken Randy Moss instead. But Vonnie had a really great, long, productive NFL career. They had a choice between re-signing him or re-signing Cletus Hunt. They chose as that guy that's guarding the chalice in Indiana Jones. They chose poorly. Right? And Cletus Hunt was a bust, and I think he still owes back taxes in the state of Wisconsin. He was terrible on the field. So that's one. And then two, and this is, I'm biased on both these because the two guys they chose not to sign were two of my guys. Vonnie is one. And the other one was they had two safeties that were up after the 16 season. One was Morgan Burnett, who never, he was a third-round pick. He was never a bad player, right? He was never a great player. But the other guy was Micah Hyde. And they told Micah Hyde with 6 games left in the season, we're not re-signing you. Which, again, I have no idea why you would do that. But Micah Hyde, all he did was went out and went to multiple Pro Bowls and was an All-Pro in Buffalo. And, Morgan Burnett was fine, but he certainly wasn't as good of a player. And what's funny is, in one case, they paid a guy based on potential. That was Mike Sherman who did that, I think, with Vonnie. On the other one, they paid the guy that had been a starter instead of the guy that was up and coming, which they should have done, which was Micah Hyde. Now, I think Goody's almost always going to choose the up-and-coming guy, and that's maybe why we're where we are. Maybe he thinks that these guys are replaceable. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe that's the holdup is that, hey, we're not going to guarantee more money for Elton Jenkins because, we want to be able to have the flexibility that if he's not good enough next year, we'll draft somebody or we'll go to Jacob Monk, and we're not on the hook for anything for him next year.
Micah Hyde is a BHA. Do you know what the BHA is?
Best Hawkeye. No, I don't know.
Yeah, best Hawkeye available. That's what you should do in the draft. When it gets late, you just draft the BHA. Just give me the best Hawkeye available. And that seems to work out really well everywhere when they do that.
Yeah, they do that with the best Mizzou player available too, but it usually doesn't go quite as well.
That's actually not a thing, but the BHA is a thing. There's a lot of Hawkeyes in the 6th and 7th round. They're like, you know what? I don't know. Pick a guy that played for Ferentz. He'll show up and he'll be good here when it happens.
Yeah. Look at the Packers' track record with Iowa guys.
Yeah.
How many Iowa guys have maybe Abdul Hodge, who's like a 3rd-round pick. He didn't ever really become anything. But overall, I think you're probably right. Mike Daniels, Brian Bulaga. They got Christian Welch on their roster now, and that was one of their mistakes last year was letting him. They cut him at the end of camp. It's true. Those guys are ready-made NFL players. Now Lucas Van Ness needs to do more because he's. Not only is he not the best Hawkeye available, he's not even the best Hawkeye on their roster, I think, right now.
Well, see, but he's too high. The BHA is usually a guy that's a fourth, fifth. He's that down the board is when you go with him. That's when you got to come with him.
And Micah was what? Micah was what, the 5th round, I think?
Yeah, he's a classic BHA when it comes through. By the way, you said when you mentioned maybe you think these guys as replacements. Remember we did ESPN did a 30 and 30 on the Redskins replacement players from '82 about how that was the team that ended up winning the championship and that strike shortened season. Right? Isn't that when the Packers won that home game against the Cardinals? I think that was.
They did. Neil Lomax.
Yep, they took care of those guys. The quarterback? Hammered them. But anyway,
that was actually a horrible victory because it made people think that the Packers might have been good, and I of course was rooting for them to lose, which it was not nice to Bart Starr, but it's 100% correct. We are way behind time, which is fine because that was so good. Right. But I want to ask both of you, how good do you think LaFleur and Goody believe this team is? What do you think their expectations for this season are or is? Jason?
So if you have time, if Pebble's got time to grab it, it's the last question of LaFleur's press conference at the end of minicamp. I asked him that. And I basically said, look, you got all these guys, all these young but experienced guys that you're excited about. If they are who you think they are, how good do you think this team can be? And his answer, the actual words are not like super awesome, but the way he hesitates and the way he answers it, he clearly believes he has a Super Bowl caliber contender, and he bites his tongue, not wanting to raise expectations, and says, I think we can be really competitive. But that is it. Listen, I go back and find that and listen to it. I guarantee you will come away with the same impression I had. And
now, what do you think?
Well, I don't hear enough.
I
don't. Everything I get from them usually is what I read, which is harder to tell. Tone and body language and some of the things that Jason points out there. But I think they feel exactly like they did going in last year. I think they feel like they have a team that can be the best team in the NFC. I think some of that might be delusional right now, given some of the other things that we've seen, some of the other teams there. I think the Lions are clearly better. I think the Eagles are clearly better. So I think there's that. But yeah, I think they're very much in ride and die mode with the guys that they have there. So I don't know. Like I said, I have the insight that Jason has on that thing, but I don't think they're like, well, we're just hoping that we can sneak into the playoffs.
No, I think what they think. I think what they think is they think that these guys that we all believe, because we're not married to them, that we all believe have a lot to prove after showing lots of glimpses of being really good players. I think they're convinced they are really good players, and we want to actually see them do it first. I think that's the difference between Goody and LaFleur and us. All right. Bye, guys.
Good. Jason Wilde and 7.5 John Anderson. Man, that's good. Fisco Auto Body. They're also very good on Forest Home in Franklin. How are they so good? It's a family business owned since 1931. It's not what they do, it's who they are. And yes, they're still in the family. They still have people doing the work that are Fisco's. And imagine how young when they were starting it and how good they are by now. Fisco Auto Body on Forest Home in Franklin. That's how they can have expert workmanship guaranteed for the life of the vehicle. Fisco, to remember the name. Fourth quarter with John Anderson. 7.5 next.
More of the Homer Hour coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. Crew Tuesdays are back on July 29th.
Turio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they battle the Chicago Cubs.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
This edition of Brew Crew Tuesdays is presented by Delta Dental of Wisconsin. Tune in July 29th at 6:40 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check out your local listings to watch the game.
Escape to Lake Lawn Resort in Delavan, Wisconsin, where everything is better at the lake. Dive into endless outdoor activities, including boating, fishing, and paddleboarding on the serene Delavan Lake. Tee off at the lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind in the award-winning Calidora Spa. Enjoy gourmet meals at 1878 on the lake, casual bites at the Lookout Bar and Eatery, and sweet treats at the Isle of Capri Cafe. Explore Delavan Lake's stunning shores and historic landmarks from the comfort of their 76-foot cruise boat, the Lake Lawn Queen. Book your stay today at LakeLawnResort.com.
This is Mike from Professional Construction, Inc. It's been an exciting year, from celebrating 20 years in business to our son graduating his construction apprenticeship and becoming a full-time carpenter.
Yeah, Dad, I won't be needing my toy hammer anymore. Why don't you hold that and the flashlight so I can help our amazing customers?
That's what a family business is all about, pursuing dreams and helping others.
And that's exactly what we do here at PCI.
Visit ProfessionalConstructionInc.com for all your construction needs.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End the friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
They say print is dead. They also said the sound barrier couldn't be broken, and man would never walk on the moon. They've said a lot of things, and they were wrong. We say print is alive. We should know, because print is what we do. Through 3 generations of blood, sweat, and ink, we continue to grow and evolve by consistently exceeding expectations. So print is dead, right? Wrong. When print is done right, it's unstoppable. Delza, commercial print done right.
Transform the way you do business with Fifth Third Bank's Commercial Payments Solutions. Our market expertise and managed services streamline your entire payment process, seamlessly integrating with your existing systems to give you unparalleled control. Discover new revenue sources, save time, reduce operating costs, and boost your bottom line with our customized payment solutions. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Forget average. At Exterior Pros, they bring the heat. They're not here to meet standards, they're here to smash them. From the first swing of the hammer to the final reveal, they're leveling up your home with every window, every shingle, and every single detail. This isn't just a remodel, it's a glow up for your house. Built tough, built beautiful, built to turn heads. Want in? Let's go. Lock in your project now and save $3,000. Exterior Pros, where bold meets built. Trust the pros and visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
Welcome back to the Homer Hour on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Yes, Jason Wilde and the Professor. So good, John Anderson. Is that a record for how long I've gone without saying anything? I'll let Pebble. He'll probably have to start keeping track of that. And is there any salt or sugar left from the Professor, John Anderson, that we didn't get to?
I don't think so. You know me, I'm not particularly. You know, the only thing that makes me chuckle is when you said, you know, you get on this salt kick. Because I admit, I just think I'm mean as a snake. It's not just salt.
No, you're
but
not.
When I was,
you don't even know what mean as a snake is. You know, it's
when
not.
I was, I'm like Bob Dylan. I was born during a hurricane with a snake in each fist.
Yeah, I would ask you, what's the meanest thing you've ever done? And I think it'll be closer to Mr. Rogers than Darth Vader or whoever's the most evil person ever.
I haven't never gone out of my way to do that. But most of the time, you know, my favorite saying is I hate everybody when things aren't going well. But it's funny, when I did run in high school, and I only ran kind of mostly my senior year, we had a really tall guy on the team named Greg Plinska. who was a very good basketball player, and we called him Pins. And eventually we realized he was tall and he was thin, and he literally kind of looked like the Mr. Salty doll. Remember Mr. Salty, the pretzel guy that was, yeah.
Sure.
And so I saved up a bunch of box tops, because at the time that's what you did. And I got this little Mr. Salty doll that was, 8 inches high, and it had the little sailor hat and the whole thing. And so I took him with me to every meet, and I'd had such a great year that I kept it, and I had it with me for every meet in college. He still sits in my office to this day. He's missing an eye. I had to redraw the mouth on him. But it's so every time you think Salt, I think, what do you mean by Mr. Salty? I think I am Mr. Salt. One time when I was jumping in college, a couple of the gals on the women's track team took him and they hung him from a pole vault thing, and they had him like 18 feet in the air. I came out one day and I'm like, "Where's Mr. Salty?" And he was just hanging 18 feet in the air. Like, he wasn't in a noose or anything. They just taped him up there to be, to kind of get my goat. But to this day, I still have my Mr. Salty doll. I'm in South Carolina now, but I'll make sure I retrieve him for one of these shows so I can show him to you. But I've always had Mr. Salty with me now since I was about 17 years old.
How many people that have competed with you are aware of and would bring up Mr. Salty if I said, I know John Anderson, and he's always talked about, in some ways, his competitive career, and something always comes up. Will they go, "Oh, yeah, Mr. Salty," or was it?
I don't know. A couple of my high school guys would remember it for sure. The college guys probably not as much, because we didn't have a tight. I was literally at the time there. I was really the only high jumper that stayed for 4 years. We had a couple of guys every year that came in and left. That wouldn't. The gals that obviously hung him up would know that. And the women's coach, who eventually became the men's coach for many, many, many years. He coached both squads. His name is Dr. Rick McGuire. He for sure would know about when I
mean, you have to put a picture of this up on Twitter, wherever you communicate with people.
When I took the job at Missouri, he's like, "Will Mr. Salty be making the trip?" I'm like,
yeah,
he's right here. Of course he is. Yeah, like he sat next to my phone at ESPN for 25 years.
Do your students know about Mr. Salty? Do your students know about Mr. Salty?
No, those students have not. The students have not seen Mr.
Come on, Professor. You're done for the day. Tell you address that. You're done for the day. Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team make vision care at Mr. Salty. The salt on Mr. Salty, that's just wrong. Make vision care a top priority with the latest technology, state-of-the-art Brookfield office. I went there. Dr. Holtebeck talked about how they've been doing it great for 20 years. I said, fine, I'll talk about that. He said, no, we got to get better. And so he hired Dr. Nausheen Abbas to join the team so they can accept new patients and they can deal with even more specifics, whatever your vision issue. Trust the experts from Holtebeck Eye Center in Brookfield, near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com. And again, now accepting new patients. I got to check with him. He might have done something else to become even better. John Anderson, Mr. Salty didn't tell his students. I guess your first year as a professor, it's a learning process. Best of on the tee. Next.
Love a woman got eyes of green. Finest woman that I've ever seen.
Well, it looks like we've got a crash southbound 43 right about at North Avenue. It's off on the right shoulder, so watch out for the delays. They're coming in from Hampton all the way